Make a... How do I want to model this? Make an intelligence check for Orson.
I don't think his intelligence is that great, is it?
-1.
-1's not that bad.
Roll a 20.
Well, he got a 10.
Okay.
I just rolled at -4 on my familiar, so.
So a lot of what Orson was doing today is, I mean, you're being clear with Orson what you want these particular herbs and things for, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just asking him to help me find stuff, and I can help identify it too.
Okay. So it's a learning experience for him.
Well, yeah, but if he probably realizes I'm using it to make poisons, but he knows that I'm going to use these poisons to fight. I'm not going to use poisons to kill our family members.
Except Denny.
Well, we'll see.
And he did try to throw you off a bridge.
The fishermen and all the farmers are back in the village by evening. The hunting party that went out, they'll be out for probably a couple of days before they return. And the various families start preparing for the evening meal, and once again, a parade of women folk from the village are coming up to the long hall, each one of them offering part of their own family's prepared food. And they come up with big hot bowls of pumpkin stew and creamed cod, beef and barley corns, good hearty dishes, and there's just no end to it. More than your party could even eat feasibly. So let's go ahead and get some evening actions now.
Did Denny and Lahir come back?
No, they went out with a hunting party. They're going to
be
out
gone for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of days, yeah, a few days.
But
well, if you ask around, they'll probably be back by nightfall tomorrow. That's kind of how it's been going lately.
But by now, do we know that he killed your familiar to get you to stop spying on him?
I mean, I don't know. Familiar was obviously out of range when that happened. So
Did you ask the familiar when you resummoned it?
I'm pretty sure they don't know what killed them, right, Burke?
Oh no, he got shot with an arrow.
Oh, really? Okay. Sorry, last time someone asked the familiar what happened before they died.
The familiar was like a mile in the sky.
Yeah, this one was keeping an eye on Denny specifically. He got shot with an arrow.
Does he know it was Denny who shot it at him?
Couldn't swear that for certain.
I don't know that Denny has a bow and arrow.
No,
even odds.
He and Lahir went out with a hunting party.
Okay, so it may have just they saw a hawk and saw food and shot at it.
Or Denny was like, "Hey, look, there's a hawk."
They're feeding you guys a lot of their various dishes. None of it is hawk. Nobody's feeding you braised hawk.
Orson, how do you feel about tracking them?
Orson said he probably could find them easily enough. It might take him a day or two, depending on how far afield they went.
I mean, should be faster than before they get back here. I don't trust Denny.
I don't either. He tried to throw Evie off a bridge.
Yeah, I feel like I probably should have gone with that hunting party, honestly.
Well, what is it that you think that he's going to do while he's out there?
I don't want to have to worry about that.
The only thing he could do is kill Lahir.
Or any of these people.
Or he could go back and release the god.
That's
that's a him problem.
That's weeks and weeks and weeks away on foot.
So are you sending Orson out to...
I'm going to go with him.
You and Orson are both going to... Are you going to leave tonight or tomorrow morning?
I want to leave right now. As soon as Orson gets back from... As soon as we get everybody caught up and when Orson and Evie get back.
Do we all want to go?
It's a good question.
Somebody's got to stay and watch the children.
Yeah.
Victor is not going to go.
I mean, you have NPCs capable of that. Pladen is still here.
Mm-hmm.
Abernathy, Lateguard, Trieste are all here.
I mean, Victor, and I'm going to like, this could be the chance we have to,
Kill Denny?
I'm not saying it.
Is that what you were about to say?
No, I wasn't about to say anything.
I don't
He
think.
could come to his own conclusions on what that sentence meant.
Listen, Jeannie. I think, given everything we've seen on our journey here, Denny will be just fine out there by himself.
So,
I mean,
Orson and
if we
Ekon are
know-
going. Who else is going to leave right now tonight to look for this hunting party?
I mean, I'll go with them.
I guess I'll go too.
I guess it's all of us then.
All right.
Victor will grudgingly go.
We're just shaming Victor into going.
Tenny does not arrive back at the Long Hall until after you guys have had your supper. She had gone to one of the village houses with her new friends and ate supper there. And when she returns, you see that they've gifted her with one of these little wooden dolls, and she's showing you the articulation. And obviously, you've seen this kind of craftsmanship before in. Brennan and they've got steam engines and stuff. This is a very crude form of articulation, but it's still very masterful. It's still very well done. You can pose the arms and legs of this little baby doll, and she tells you that tomorrow some of them are going to help her paint them. They're going to share their paints with her. This is something all the little girls of the village do, and she seems very excited by this prospect.
I'm glad you're making friends, but don't make a nuisance of yourself.
Yeah, that's Evie's job.
Speaking of nuisance, by the time the evening meal started to roll out, Lugren was already passed out, having wet his breeches on his straw mat in the corner, sleeping very peacefully.
I had high hopes that Lugren might, not do this, and he let me down, just as he always does.
Which is unfortunate because he is the highest ranking member of our family.
No, Denny is.
Daddy doesn't count.
Pretty sure one of you is the most high-ranking member of our family, but I can never remember which one of you was born first.
Yeah, Jeannie and Evie both outrank Lugren.
No, I think
I mean,
Luke outranks
Victor's-
us.
No.
Victor's the oldest, but
I mean, Lugren's older, but he doesn't.
Is he older than you guys?
Yeah,
pretty
he's-
sure.
I mean, Victor's 22. So
Yeah, but Victor's not from the correct part of the family.
Oh,
Okay, there's our sickly cousin Nelbert, who is like the designated heir, but he's not expected to survive. And then it's Denny, and then it's Ruby, and then it's Lugren, and then I think it's Jeannie and Evie.
Like, Lugren very specifically put himself outside of everything, so I don't know.
I don't know that
Was
it
it
matters. what
Genie?
he
Was it
wants.
Evie? I also don't know which one of you was dyeing your hair, but good job finding it out here.
Evie's a couple minutes. I think we said Evie was the one that's a few minutes older.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I don't trust him. I'm going out after him if Orson's can find him.
Have Orson make a survival check at. You know what? He's going to have both advantage and disadvantage on this roll because on one hand, you guys are there to help him, and on the other hand, though, it's going to be dark.
Yeah.
Orson's survival is plus 2 plus. That's wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So it's plus
Is-
2.
Jeannie, do you tell anybody that we're going to search for Denny, like in these villagers, so they don't start freaking out?
No,
Okay.
I'll let Tinny know. It's like, hey, Tinny, we'll be back in the morning. We'll be back probably tomorrow.
That's fine with her. You don't need her permission.
Well, I just wanted to let her know where we're going.
You should let one of the villagers know so they don't think that we abandoned them or left and did them a discourtesy.
Well, you're not going to be able to sneak out of the village unseen. Everybody's going to know that you left.
Okay.
It's up to Jeannie, really, if she wants to tell anybody why they left or not.
Just
Well,
tell
maybe-
them that we'll be back.
Tell them that we'll be back.
Right. I
Okay.
mean,
Tell
I'll
them
leave on the
to
village
search for
on the way out. We'll be back later.
And
Thank you.
yeah, they think it's a little strange that you're leaving the village this late in the day, but nobody moves to stop you. And by the time you guys heading out in the direction that Denny and Lahir left with the hunting party. I mean, you can start to hear the music of the village fading away behind you. What was that survival check? What does that 15 turn into?
17, I think.
17?
17. I had myself muted because I was coughing. I apologize.
Okay. It takes Orson the better part of the night. So dawn would be a few hours away by the time you see the cook fire on a distant hill. And he's relatively sure that that must be the hunter's camp. It's either it's somebody's camp. It's not a natural fire.
Approach it.
Okay. And yeah, approaching the camp. Lear is on watch, along with there are a group of 6 huntsmen with them, men from the village. 5 of them and Denny are asleep around the campfire. And you guys approach, and Lear calls you up. They have during the daylight, they would have a decent view of the surrounding land, but you see where they have a pile of kills tied together. Hares and pheasants. Small clutch of fish. Things that the town would use for meat and fur. And Lahir inquires why you guys have come out to the camp.
Well,
It
we
was too late. We were worried.
no. I'll just tell him, like, Ekon had his familiar trailing you in case there was trouble, and it died, and we were concerned.
Denny pointed out a hawk in the air to one of the marksmen.
Hmm.
And he looks over at Ekon. You're familiar as the hawk, right?
Yes.
I didn't
It's fine.
think anything of it. I thought it was just a moment of good sport.
I mean, you didn't find the hawk afterwards, though, right?
He shakes his head. He thought it was the strangest thing, but he didn't give it that much thought. They had ground to cover.
How's Denny been doing?
He
You
looks
can tell
over
the truth.
at Denny and Beck. You guys, well, I couldn't say he's been helpful.
Is he causing problems?
He shakes his head. He says, you wouldn't know it by looking at the rest of these lot. I think he could be actively sabotaging the hunt, and they wouldn't seem to mind. And he tells you about how they're excellent shots, how they know all the tricks to, like, ferret game out of bushes and tall grasses. And he's learning a lot about how to hunt for meat and survival in these lands. Things that he wishes he had known 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so I'm going to have my hawk come back and just keep an eye on you guys, and if anything happens, it'll fly back to town and warn us. Don't shoot it this time, and I'll take an action to just desummon my hawk and then resummon it right next to me.
Don't shoot any hawks to be on the safe side. We don't eat hawk, as far as I can tell.
And he looks back at Denny, and the whole time you're conversing, one of the village men is sitting there. Doesn't understand a word of what you're saying. He's just smoking from a long pipe, just enjoying the silence of the night. But Lear asks you, or rather tells you, I think Denny might be ill.
Is he still with the legs?
He's taking a lot of water and passing a lot as well from both ends. I'm not sure that he's well.
Do you think we should take him back to the town so he can rest?
He shakes his head and says he's not having difficulty keeping up. He doesn't seem to be... I don't know.
Oh.
It's not my area of expertise.
I've got a detect poison and disease on tap. I'm gonna go ahead and cast that.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look at Denny to see if he's putting off any magical aura, to see if he's been cursed or something.
I need to find out the exact purview of detect disease. I actually need to turn on a light in this office. I cannot read this book on its yellow pages with this very tiny text. I wish I
getting
could
old.
describe
Do you have a
guys
magnifying glass?
the adventure of turning on the light in my office.
Yeah, mine's kind of like that too.
Was that if you just jumped over each of the switch?
Do you know how you turn the light on in my office? I reach over about 1.5 feet and just pull a chain and it turns on.
Well, yeah, but I've got the big box light behind my.
Yeah, I gotta
TV.
climb over a bunch of stuff to get to mine.
Yeah, this I have to climb back behind my TV and over like a Guitar Hero controller and.
Ah, plastic instruments. There's your problem. There's your storage problem, my friend.
I only kept one of the guitars. I've only got the Xbox One guitar.
Okay.
All the rest of them I got rid of. But yeah, I tried not to keep this light on unless I'm streaming because it can be quite blinding.
I think you might just be getting old and need glasses. You think that could be possible?
I do. Like, I definitely have a little magnifying glass that I use. All
Picture
right.
the old Grandpa Brick Road, you know? Little round glasses. Little round spectacles.
I do need to make an appointment with an optometrist and see if I need some kind of glasses.
So
Yeah, I
do I.
Glasses.
Which is too bad because that's the only way in which I was better than my wife. Like, I had two perfectly working eyes. Now I don't even have that.
Glasses aren't that bad.
You'll still be half better.
So, you do detect that Denny is under the effect of some sort of disease, but you don't know anything about the nature of it given that spell. You just detect that it's there.
Okay.
And the symptoms, I mean, you were traveling with him when he was sweating profusely, and one of the other symptoms seems to be that he's taking on way more water than the rest of the party by far. So he's drinking a lot and he's urinating a lot. The water is just passing straight through his system.
I'm going to, like, do you tell us this? That
Yeah.
he is diseased, and I'm gonna add the huntsman that's smoking.
Mhm.
I'd be like, and I'll ask him, are there any diseases that you're aware of that? And I'll point it at Denny that he might have, because we were just told that he's taking a lot of water, and.
Well, you know what? I can actually do something about that. Lesser Restoration does stop end disease.
No. Hold your spell slot.
Sure.
So you're just asking about some local diseases that he might have
Yeah.
contracted? Because he had started showing these symptoms around the time you guys had gone in and looked in that ruin.
Right.
I think he picked it up from those bugs that were crawling on him.
the leeches. But
I went to fantasynamegenerators.com to get some disease names that this guy can, and it came up with mouse cancer. So apparently mouse cancer is a big concern in this village. Along with the goose dysfunctions, Crumblehead,
Translation errors.
Just
And-
keep reading more.
the worst of all, the peaceful sneeze.
That where you just so hard your head explodes and you die.
You do not want to get the peaceful sneeze.
I need you to codify for me right now what the symptoms of the peaceful sneeze are.
I really like Crumblehead. I'm gonna be honest.
Crumblehead is real good.
I mean, that's like that's like shingles.
No, I had shingles. I don't think it's like that.
Yeah, he rattles off some of the illnesses that the village is constantly on the lookout for. And he's noticed that Denny does seem sick, but he's not slowing the party down. He's not complaining about aches and pains or anything. He's not nauseous. He's not coughing and sneezing, which would be his primary concern about whether he's infectious. So yeah, he's not. He thought it was just some sort of ailment that you big folk dealt with from time to time, and must not have thought it was that big of a deal if he offered to come out with him.
I'll look at Ekon and say, nothing local. Do we want to do that, or like
Give
he
me 1
doesn't?
second, check one thing. Alright, so detect poison is concentration up to 1 minute, and lesser restoration is 1 action. So I will go ahead and cast lesser restoration, touch Denny, and then concentrate on the detect poison disease and still if he's still diseased.
Swear to God, if Denny punches you,
You
You
have
have to make a stealth roll to get close enough to him without waking him up.
No, I mean he's snoring away.
Maybe we should tie him down before you do anything, just in case he tries to hurt you.
Okay, you lay hands on Denny. You feel the magic of air balm the disease out of his body. Ekon,
And
make
check. Oh,
me roll a d20.
Yep. That's a 10 on die.
You feel the magic work. You're aware that you've balmed the disease out of his body. When you did it, though, it's a verbal somatic spell, yes?
So resto is VS, yep.
So yeah, you spoke a prayer, asked air to balm your ailing cousin of the disease that has taken root somewhere in his body. And you feel the healing magic work. What you don't feel is a connection to air doing it. It doesn't feel to you. You're holding your house relic in one of your hands as you do it. It doesn't feel to you that you've asked air to do this thing and it was granted you, which is how your magic has always worked in the past. It felt like you had cast the spell yourself. It felt like this is your skill, your connection, and the power of your focus that you're holding.
Well, that's strange. And then just looking over the entire area with detect poison disease, does anything ping?
That depends on whether or not Victor has an STD.
Wait, is Evie with us?
Does he
Evie,
have-
how many poisons do I detect?
He
She hasn't
probably
made
made
any.
some materials that could be used to make poison. I don't know if that would ping.
Evie just lights up like a Christmas tree. She's like, what?
And I'll nod to Genie and make my way back outside of their camp.
Okay. So their plan is they're going to spend tomorrow. They're going to go down this side of the hill to where there's a forested area with a large pond. And if they're very lucky, they're going to bring back a deer in addition to the rest of it. But they're not going to spend more than a day out there. Most of what they're gathering is going to be put to use in the Harvest Festival in a couple of days. Are you guys going to remain with the hunting party for tomorrow, or are you going to head back to the village?
Victor is going to go back to the village.
Assuming they listen to my advice to not kill the hawk, I'll head back.
Okay. Yeah, Lear seems sincere when he tells you he'll make sure that they don't.
Yeah, let's
He
just go
couldn't.
back to
He
the village.
couldn't stop Denny from. Well, Denny doesn't have his own bow. He's been borrowing a short bow from one of the other hunters.
Yeah.
And he hasn't hit anything, so he can't stop Denny from trying to shoot it, but he doesn't think that there's much danger there. But yeah, it would take you guys most of the morning. You'd probably be getting back to the village around the time that they're breaking for their midday meal. And I mean, you're all very tired. You've been working all day and then traveling all night. So by the time you get back to the village, is anybody not going to take the long rests on the second day?
No, I'm.
I would share that bit about the magic seemed weird, though, with my companions on the way back.
Okay.
I mean, I've had this discussion with Ekon, as he's the only other spellcaster, that like the whole bag of holding thing is literally against every known law of magic that I studied.
Right.
And like this, so I guess that means we're like truly cut off, huh?
No, it hadn't come up until now. Maybe it's just the disease healing? Maybe something about the disease or about the healing? I don't know.
Where could we be that air can't find us?
Nowhere that I'm aware of.
Maybe Air just doesn't like Denny.
Air's sitting up there on a cloud like, dude, I gave him a disease. What the hell?
I am incredibly torn about you like doing that, because we could have just probably left him alone and he would have just been. It would have been fine.
Fine.
Best to not worry about like if they wander into a desert and end up low on water or something.
But also, like, there's like I said, Jeannie's on two minds about it, because so on the one hand, potentially. Denny, on the other hand, what if he turns into a zombie, like wrapped in like rags and full of and attacks some of these people and us? So it's like,
So you all get back to the village and take a long rest. So the morning of the third day is when you guys will be back up and around. Mm-hmm. Is anybody going to do anything specific on the third day? Because as each day goes by, more and more of the town is decorated.
I'm going to. I would like to find. Is there like a village headman?
No. Asking around, there usually aren't any kind of decisions or governance that needs to be done. There's really not a system of like a judiciary or any sort of punishment. Nobody would want to hurt anybody, so it's not necessary. When such things are necessary, when big decisions do have to be made, the heads of household come up into the long hall, they have a discussion, they drink on it, and they come to a decision.
Okay. The reason I said headman, because I just want to find some more information. Like, where is the nearest village from here? The next nearest village?
Yeah, where do all these roads go? Because there was a road going
Yeah.
south that we didn't know where it went, and then I think there might be roads leading west of here.
And I want to see if they can tell me is there a lord to these lands?
Jeannie, I need you to ask if they have any map makers or maps of the area.
And do you have any maps of the surrounding areas?
They do not. I mean, over the course of these discussions, you learn that these people have very little need or desire for those kinds of outside complications. As to the question of who's the lord of the lands, if I can pull up my notes here.
Is it Strahd? It's Strahd, isn't it?
It's Strahd.
Rod appears and says, "Haha, you fools!"
The worst. Several generations ago, the village paid homage to the Duvacats family. The Duvacats had a manor in a keep many, many days' travel away. Just a lot of empty countryside. But the taxman that the Duvacats would have sent out to collect some stipend of trade. They wouldn't have coin, but X percentage of their take in barley and X number of livestock and things. That stopped happening 20 or 30 years ago. And you talked to a couple of the old gentlemen in town who would have been young at the time. And they remember like their parents thought it was strange for 1 or 2 seasons, but after that they just stopped thinking about it.
What about any other nearby settlements?
And they rattle off a couple of the other local villages. It sounds like they're fairly similar to this one, but none within, say, 2 weeks' journey easily.
So, like, again, like, the main reason I ask is, like, again, on the map, there was like a village on this side, there was a bridge, and then another village. What about the bridge? I think that was a bridge.
A day or 2 journey to the west, or not quite a full day. Give me a second. I'm bringing up the map in Photoshop here. It's in a different directory than everything else.
Why? That seems like a good way to just lose it.
Because I put I have one directory like for each storyline. So I had one directory for all the Hexcrawl stuff. Now I've got a directory for all the village stuff. Yeah, heading west, maybe about 2 days' journey, there is a large lake that a river feeds into from the north and the south. And a bridge spans it, and last time any of these folks were over that way, yeah, there was a similar village on the opposite side of the bridge. Make a wisdom check.
Sure. That's not going to do it. That is a 7.
7? Bear with me just 1 second. Okay, so you would come down here. No, you hadn't. Well, whatever. You would take this road. Oh, that's not working now. There we go. So this is where you are now. At the village. About 2 hexes west of here is a bridge where they're saying there's another village on the other side. The bridge spans the north bank of the lake where a river feeds into it from the north. He's saying the river also feeds into it from the south. That can't possibly be the case because when you guys traveled along this river, you were traveling downstream, the direction of its flow, which would mean the lake would feed the river and not vice versa. The man you're talking to now is telling you different. He's saying that this river flows to the north and feeds into the lake.
That's okay.
Do these people have boats of any kind?
No, the fishermen that go out just fish the banks of the stream.
Okay.
So, just in general relation, where is the Lord Manor? Like, just, you ain't got to tell us, like, as you said, weeks away, but to which direction?
Far off to the north.
To the north. Okay, so it's not like this. Okay, gotcha. Just wondering.
No, and in fact, if you were to inquire, they wouldn't even know of the existence of this place or what it is.
All right.
No, they send once or twice a season, except in winter, obviously. But they'll send a wagon train to the south to do business with big people, as they call them, and come back with exotic goods they can't get in the village, predominantly spices.
So there are humans or big people somewhere south of here.
Is it always and I'll ask him, is they mainly do business with the people in the colorful the big people in the colorful wagons, or that they come from other places down south as well?
Oh no, they always do visits with the Vistani.
The Vistani, huh? Okay. So
It's rare that they actually get big people visiting the village, but it's not completely unheard of. In fact, the last band that came through was a toy maker who made toys for all the children in the village. This would have been around the time of the last harvest, so about a year ago.
Oh, is he the one that made the dolls and the knights?
Yes. That's him.
Victor
Wait.
is-
So wait, hold on. I have a question. Then where did Tenny's doll come from? You said they just made it.
No, it was given to her as a gift from one of the other
Oh, okay, all right,
girls
all
in
right.
the village. They said that they were going to help her paint it.
Okay.
They're
So
gonna
do
share
you
the
have
paints.
so you have these dolls and like you have stocks of these toys?
He had some in a large trunk that he kept, and he made others while he was here.
Okay.
He's not sure if there's a surplus anywhere, like nobody's keeping track of children's toys.
That's nice of him.
They're easy enough to repair when they break.
Okay.
Is anybody
Well,
else
I
doing
don't-
anything specific on the third day?
Yeah.
I guess I'll go looking for more herbs with Orson.
Okay, what about Victor?
Victor is going to start making maps of the area and surrounding area based on what conversations Jeannie was able to have, as well as he's going to start sending his familiar out to help kind of map the terrain.
Okay. Evie, go ahead and give me that survival check. What are Edmont and Ekon doing on the third day?
I still have advantage because Orson's with me.
Yes.
So we got 2 days of progress on learning the language, and then one we were out of town for the hike, right?
Yes, and you can count every day you're spending in the village as another day towards that progress.
Yeah, great. Just double checking. I would like to get some pre-assembled translated phrases from Jeannie, and then report into the village apothecary looking for work.
There isn't a village
Yeah,
apothecary.
there's not really a village apothecary. This is the sort of thing that it would just be expected that the matriarch of each family
Okay.
would have knowledge of herb craft and things. But
Well,
I mean,
then
if you present yourself at one of the households and it becomes known that that's the kind of work that you can do, I mean, yeah, they can put you to work. Again, they think it's a little odd that a man would be doing this sort of work, but there's no shortage to it that needs done.
Okay. And if I find any more diseases, I will again use restore a lesser restoration, but I will try and disguise it as if I'm using some sort of like natural remedy, since my understanding is they're superstitious around magic.
So are you like casting detect disease as you're wandering around town?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't come up with anything else. No other poisons or illnesses jumping out at you. Because
Hey, Jeannie.
Evie's already left by this point, so.
Right.
Jeannie, next time you have a conversation with the women or the men, ask them what their thoughts on magic are.
Edmont, what are you doing on the third day?
I'm going to observe the kids. I'm going to go with Tinny to watch her paint her doll
Okay.
with the family.
And yeah, she's sitting on the ground in front of one of the houses in a circle with some of the other village girls. And they have all these brightly colored paints. And Tenny's the largest child by far. It's a little
Sure.
strange to see. But yeah, they're helping her paint this little wooden doll.
Yeah,
Make me a perception check.
I'll go offer pointers where I feel that they would be appropriate. And perception.
Yes.
Someone else can use that die. That's a 4.
That's a 4. Okay.
Going over here.
So all of the other little girls, all of their dolls are wearing dresses and clothes and bonnets and things that they've made at home with their mothers. And one of the little girls is working on one for Tenny, because after the doll is painted properly, like they're going to dress them up and it'll be her plaything. So you just have a pleasant morning playing with dolls with all the little girls of the village.
Yeah. Sweet.
Evie did not do well in her survival check, by the way.
Like, how do they make the paints that they use?
Probably the same way that you make paints in Brennanine. They use readily
Sure.
available materials to break down into pigments. So there are certain colors that would be more common than others. Like rich purples and magentas and things would be less common than greens and reds and yellows.
Mm-hmm.
What was Evie's survival?
8.
8? Then you don't find anything. The evening of the third day, around the time of the evening meal, is when the hunting party comes back. And to riotous celebration, because they're dragging back a freshly killed buck. It's wildly successful. And Lear confides in Ekon later that they didn't have any other trouble with any hawk that you sent out. In fact, Lear tells you he didn't even see one. He was watching the skies, so...
Okay.
The fourth day, a lot of work starts happening out in the southern fallow field, where they're staking places off, and you find out by the time breakfast is over that they're going to use it as a place in the festival to hold games and competitions.
How many days away is the festival?
This is the fourth day, so 2 days from now.
Okay.
The sixth day would be the first day where they would feast. And it's going, as far as the village is concerned, it's going to be a fairly fortuitous feast because they have such industrious and entertaining visitors. I mean, you guys play music, you know how to draw, you make maps, you have stories and songs, and you take interest in their, you like their beer, you like their food. So the general sentiment in the village is it's going to be a very successful feast. It's like one to remember for many years to come.
Cool. So this is a question for you, Brick Road. In regard that I kind of a conversation that I'm having with Ekon about is Donique is the one that's catatonic, right?
Yes.
So, if I recall correctly, there are a few spells that can cure madness, but it's like an effect that's not listed on their spell sheet. It's in the DMG. Is that a thing that is a thing? I think it's like lesser restoration, greater restoration, and...
Does Ekon try to cast lesser restoration on her?
Like,
I mean, if Genie's thought is that might do something, sure.
yeah. I mean,
That's not
worst,
fair.
yeah,
And
worst
there's
case scenario.
no effect.
No
Yeah.
effect.
Okay.
But Trieste offers you gratitude for the attempt.
Oh God, Victor knows what he can try. Has anybody told? Have you told Victor about your concerns? Like, is this becoming a problem for you?
Well, the concerns for Donique would be apparent because she's been traveling with you the whole time.
All right, so I guess Victor's evening action will be to go.
Have we got to the evening actions? Thought we were still in the morning.
I'm kind of condensing the whole day just to get through it and get to the fun part of the session.
Okay.
So Victor is going to take a break from map making at some point, and he is going to go be stupid and try to establish a psionic connection with Donique after hearing that everybody is really, really worried about her. Still,
With Donique?
whoever the catatonic one is, yeah.
Okay. What do you say to her?
Well, is there? First off, is there anybody there to actually connect with?
Yeah, you make the connection.
Donique, are you are you okay? What's going on here? I understand you had some trouble before we took our trip.
And she tells you, or she asks, are we on a trip?
Do you? What have you experienced the past couple days? Can you tell me?
I think I've been asleep. Am I asleep now?
I wouldn't use the word asleep. You haven't been reactive to, well, frankly, anything. We're a little bit worried about you.
I don't think I'm worried.
Victor will proceed to kind of describe what she's been doing the last, 12, 13 days now?
Yeah, it's been about 2 weeks, I think.
So he'll describe what she's been doing or not doing, as the case would be, and then ask her,
She
says,
says, no, I think I've been here.
Where do you think you are?
I haven't thought about it.
Well, what do you see?
I'm in my room. My bedroom. Trieste and I used to share quarters when we were little.
Do you remember the attack on Bernardine?
Were we attacked? And that's kind of how the conversation goes. Every time you ask her whether she knows or remembers something, she twists it back into a question. And it's hard to hold her attention. She trails off. But she thinks she's resting in her bedroom at home, in a comfortable place. So Trieste must be in the next room asleep, and her father must be downstairs in his solar.
And how does she react as Victor tries to describe what the current situation really is?
Nothing.
She just ignores it, or she just goes back to asking questions.
She just, do you remember the attack? We were attacked. If you ask her if she remembers being injured, I don't think I was injured. A lot of trailing off ends, but you're able to hold the conversation at least at that surface level.
So she's there, she's just not there.
Doesn't seem like she has any awareness of her physical presence at the moment.
So as he's having this conversation, Victor will poke her with a finger to start ask her if she feels it.
No, I'm alone in here. Nobody's with me.
Who is in the room as Victor's having this conversation with her?
Trieste and Abernethy at the very least. I mean, you guys are up in the loft area of this long hall, so it's one gargantuan room. It's probably 20 other people in here.
Yeah, so Victor is going to pull out one of his actual daggers, and he's going to tell Trieste, I'm going to try and poke her with this. I may draw a small amount of blood to see if she notices. And he'll describe to the two of them this conversation briefly.
You prick her finger with a dagger, and she bleeds, but she doesn't give any kind of reaction. She doesn't jerk her hand away. She doesn't even look down at the bead of blood. And when you ask her about it, she tells you that she doesn't remember being poked. There's just no connection to her physical presence and where her mind is.
All right. Victor.
So Trieste asks you whether this is good news or bad news for her condition.
I have no idea. She doesn't seem like she's going crazy in the violent sense of the word. She's still there. She just doesn't seem to know where she is. It's like her mind has been separated and warded off inside of her body.
I think she was cursed somehow.
Maybe.
what kind of person did you shoot? Was it just a soldier?
It was a group of Endoline soldiers who had come to the house looking for their father.
Do you remember exactly what happened when they entered? Can you describe to us moment by moment what occurred?
If she hadn't shot the one, they would have dragged them both out of the house.
Did he say anything before he was shot? Did anybody seem like they were casting a spell?
I mean, it was over very quickly. There was not a lot of time to make those kinds of observations. As far as she knows, there was no magic used.
Well,
and you guys will be able
might
to tell if she was under the effect of the spell. You've got people trained in Arcana.
Yeah, maybe one of these villagers might have heard of something similar to this before. We should.
I doubt it. highly doubt it.
So over the course of the next couple of days, is Evie going to spend those couple of days making more herbalism rules?
Yeah, probably.
And everybody else, is there anything specific you're doing, or are you just going to help the village prepare for their festival?
Victor is making maps.
I'm gonna continue helping. Just for my notes, how many days is that for language?
2 more before the celebration.
So we're up to like 15 days total.
Well, I'm not the one keeping track. You guys should be keeping track of that.
I've got 14 on my.
Yeah, I'm up to 14 too.
Okay.
How's Denny doing? Does he look better?
Yeah, when he returns from the hunting party, you guys no longer see him having the symptoms that you had noticed.
Is he still acting as crazy?
Still acting like Denny?
He's still acting like Denny, for sure.
Okay.
But he's not trying to kill Evie?
He's definitely observing him over those couple of days. He is definitely taking as much advantage of the hospitality of this village as possible. And he's doing very, very little work, if any.
So he's back to normal, basically.
I think Jeannie might actually call him out on that. To tell him to pitch in or stop being like Lugrin.
I'm trying to think of how much work Lugrin must have been doing these couple of days.
He's doing like 4 days worth of drinking.
Does Lugrin have any skills?
I mean, he could do menial labor. They can put him to work aligning planks, or... I mean, they're in this south field, they're sectioning off...
Wait, Lugrin, has Lugrin been helping? Yes, I mean, has Lugrin been helping more than Denny?
Probably.
Okay, then I'll be like, Luke, like, listen. Stop being useless. That's what I'll just tell him.
So Victor is going to flat out tell Lugrin to go help the brewmaster and see if he can learn how to brew beer.
Lugrin tells you that it's
idea.
it's a fascinating science, but for some reason, partway through the lesson, he always seems to lose hold of the details.
Oh, God.
The morning of the feast day, the roosters crow in the morning, waking everybody up. You have a morning meal, and music begins immediately. The village green in the center, at this point, the long tables have all been constructed with chairs enough for every family in the village to sit and partake. And even first thing in the morning, they're already covered with foodstuffs. And you guys are kind of ushered off to the south field for the games after you've eaten your breakfast and whatever snack they've put into your hands on the way.
You want me to just make survival rolls for Evie for 2 days?
Yeah, if you want to continue doing that.
I got an 11. And a 10.
An 11 and a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Roll a d4.
I got 3.
Okay, add 3 more gold pieces worth of materials.
Oh, hooray.
So part of the south field is sectioned off, and large apple trees growing along the northern border of it. In one part of the field, you see they've got sectioned off with having constructed like a wooden fence in the center of it, and then a long roped off oval on either side. And you see some of the children are having pillows strapped to their bodies as they're placed on big fat pigs and handed these makeshift lances as they do tilts at each other in these jousting competitions. And another part of the field,
That's adorable.
you see the biggest and strongest of these little people swirling and swirling these heavy iron hammers over their head and flinging them off into the distance and measuring them. All manner of games are being played. You guys are ushered out onto this field here, where on either side they have dug a small 15-foot wide trench on either side, and they have a wooden plank along the back of it. So why don't you guys go ahead and... You guys plus Orson. 3 of you on one side and 3 on the other.
I call Orson.
I call Edmont.
I'm going on the same side as Orson.
You guys
Dibs
figure it
on
out.
Orson. Dibs on Orson.
I guess that leaves me with wait, there are 2 victors? What happened?
I think I'm with Ekon and Edmond because everyone else wanted Orson.
Somebody grab their.
Orson is this yellow one.
Okay. There we go, Orson. And we go on this side. Is that what you wanted?
Yeah, they put 3 big people on each side. And you're not sure exactly what they're doing at first. Until 4 of the men of the village join you on one side of the field and 4 on the other side. And they have these brilliantly covered sashes wrapped around their chests. On this side of the field, they're wrapped in blue and tied off. And so quickly, they pull one around Jeannie and Victor and Orson and tie it off as well. And same thing on the other side, except the sashes are orange.
Playing flag football.
One of
I'll
the...
yell out, Genie, no magic.
Yes, Genie, magic.
And then one of the elder patriarchs and 2 of his big brawny sons roll out...
Please don't be a demon.
this enormous wicker ball. This thing is a good 10 feet to a side, and they roll it out into the center of the field, where they kick a hole into the ground so it stays put. And then they leave, and let's roll some initiative.
We are going to be very bad at whatever this is.
Don't forget to roll for Orson.
That's a 12 on die, and his initiative is +1. Orson, 13.
So Edmont is at the top on 22. So yeah, they roll out this enormous wicker ball. And I mean, it's hollow on the inside. So the thing is not, it's heavy. It's got some work to it, but it doesn't take a lot to get it rolling. It's easily 10 feet to a side. This thing is enormous.
Goodness.
He and his 2 sons roll it out. Then they move up to the north side of the field. The old man takes out an old brass horn and blows on it, and a crowd begins to be attracted to the field. And when we come back from our break, we'll find out how you guys perform at whatever this game
that
is.
we have no idea.